very, very strong winds coming from the west should just shear it apart into a tropical storm. But note here by Monday, south of Key West, north of Cuba. So it could be on the Key West radar still as a tropical system by the time the next work week rolls around. But note how large the cone of uncertainty is. Rena could be anywhere in this area 5 days from now, if at all. So there is a lot of uncertainty with the intensity and the track. Still holding strong 967 millibars, a formidable hurricane. You can see the wind field with Rena, the hurricane force winds right in this area here, not impacting land yet. But even if the eye stays offshore, we're talking Cozumel here, areas of western Cuba, could get hurricane force and certainly tropical storm force conditions as Hurricane Rina makes that eventual move to the northwest, but it's got to start moving. This thing has to start moving in order for that to happen. You can see the infrared loop over the last several hours not moving, didn't move yesterday, didn't move last night, hasn't moved this morning, barely crawling, and you can see it's trying to recover there. If an eye pops out, it wouldn't be hard for this thing to achieve category 3, but as of right now, it's struggling. But it's these cold cloud tops here, these grays showing up, that are making Rena a powerful hurricane, at least as powerful as it's been. You can see the rain shield here still offshore the Yucatan, but getting closer as the storm moves on. Now, where exactly it moves from there is a subject of heated debate. Some models get it caught up here over the Yucatan, some dissipate it, some loop it back around. The general consensus where the National Hurricane Center is going is somewhere near the Yucatan, and then maybe like this near Cuba as a weakening system, although it could loop back around. It's really hard to even see where the consensus of the models are because you got the gray line here all over the place, literally from the Bahamas to the Yucatan to the Cayman Islands here. This whole region, a lot of uncertainty just where it will go. You can see the GFDL model would be more simple, just taking the storm right into Florida and out. If Rena became a Category 4 hurricane, and started to accelerate, something like that would be more likely. But because Rena is such a tiny Category 2 and may be weakening significantly, not only from land but also from wind shear and such, that track is less likely. Something of getting left behind is more likely. Don't be surprised if you see some sort of loop and this system sticks around western Cuba for a couple of days. You can see the upper level winds, as I mentioned, very favorable down here. 97L, if Rena wasn't in its way, it could have really done something here with that upper level anticyclone. But that anticyclone is causing southerly to southwesterly wind shear. You can see 10 to 20 knots, enough to keep Rena in check, but not enough to weaken it, and that's why Rena's a strong hurricane of 110 miles an hour. But look at these winds here as they increase 70, 60, 50, 70, 40. That is going to have a big impact on the hurricane as it pulls to the north, probably right after it hits the Yucatan, which is why it's so important now. If Rena strengthens significantly for some reason over the next 24 hours, the Yucatan is in trouble. If it doesn't, it's a better scenario for a weaker hurricane or even a tropical storm down the road. Nonetheless, you can see on satellite there's Hurricane Rina looking a bit better organized actually on this infrared satellite imagery. You could kind of see hints of the eye there showing up for the first time, and you can see that's unenhanced. But note at the beginning it was trying to wrap up the eye but had some problems, and then by the end of the loop it actually looks to have consolidated a bit more, wrapping around the north side of the system. If it can push out an eye, that might be one last gasp at intensification before it ends up weakening. But again, if it had a well-defined eye and was a powerful hurricane, if that black dot I just drew was an eye, you would go, oh man, the Yucatan's in for it. Be a lot like Hurricane Wilma. But that is not the case with Rina. Nonetheless, it is a hurricane, a powerful hurricane, and something we're going to keep an eye on. I'm Mike Naso from IPR365.com. Check out our website. Stay tuned.